and let me in. Thank you. Hi, guys. Hi.
What's going on here? You know, kids are not allowed to play outside at this complex, so you kids are going to have to pack up your toys and you're going to have to get out, okay? Because there's just too much noise going on.
No, that's okay. It's okay. I'm their parent. I'm watching them. Everything's fine.
Yeah, that's fine, but the thing is they're making too much noise. They're disturbing the peace. There are people that are sleeping, and we just don't allow it. We don't allow kids to play outside.
They're not doing any harm. They're not hurting anybody. It'll be fine.
No, it's not, because you signed a lease, and the lease says the rules are kids are not allowed to play outside. That's just that's the way it is.
Oh, she's not your parent. Go ahead, kids. Go ahead and play.
Okay, fine. If you want to go that route, that's your problem. But you're going to be evicted.
Hi, my name is Craig Fagan. I've been in practice for nearly 25 years, and for the bulk of that time, I've primarily focused on representing tenants who live in apartment complexes and in condominium complexes. In particular, I represent families who have been threatened with eviction or who have actually been evicted for doing something as bad as letting their children play outside. I wanted to talk to you today briefly and let you know in plain English what you can and cannot do at your apartment complex, and whether your landlord can in fact harass you or evict you for letting your children play outside. Now, the video you just saw a moment ago, which showed the manager threatening the kids that they had to get inside or they'll be evicted, unfortunately it happens too frequently. Now, my firm represents clients all the way from San Diego all the way north of Sacramento. And we've represented clients in these areas for years, and I've seen this happen many times to families. Fortunately, we've been successful in helping those families, and I want to help you today to give you some pointers. Now, the first issue you're probably asking is, can a landlord refuse to let my children play outside? Now, it seems like an innocent question, but many times landlords say, no, your children cannot play outside. So, can a landlord refuse to let your kids play outside? The answer to that question is absolutely not. Your children have the right to play outside in the common areas at the complex, and they have the right to do so even if the landlord says your children, there's people who are sleeping during the day because they work at night, other tenants claim they're too noisy, or there are elderly people who live here and want to be quiet. Those are not justified reasons for refusing to let your children play outside. The landlord may also bring up reasons and say, look, we're concerned about liability, therefore we don't want your kids outside. Your kids might trip on sprinklers, they might fall on the rocks, they may skin their knees, a whole list of issues or excuses. None of those are reasons that justify keeping your kids indoors. You have the right to let your kids play outside, even if the landlord doesn't want them to do so. Now, the next thing that comes up is landlords will say, well, you signed a lease saying you won't let your kids play outside. The law does not recognize a lease provision if it's illegal. And since the Fair Housing Act says your children have the right to be outside, your landlord cannot take it away by putting it in a lease. So it doesn't matter if you signed a lease saying that you would agree not to let your kids play outside. They have the right to be out there. Now, the next issue that comes up is many times landlords say your kids can be outside, but they need to be supervised. What you probably don't know is landlords are not allowed to require you to supervise your children when they're outside. The only rare exception to that is a situation where if there's an extreme danger and the landlord can justify supervision. The classic example is if there's a swimming pool, the landlord can require kids to be supervised while swimming. But if you're looking at a typical common area situation where there's a lawn and some sidewalks, they cannot refuse to let your kids play out there unsupervised if it's otherwise reasonable to let them be out there. The reason being is that many times landlords bring up a supervision rule and enforce it mainly just to keep kids indoors. So if you may have a 14-year-old kid who gets home from school early, he's waiting for you to get home, if there's a supervision rule, he cannot be out there. That's illegal. The kids can be outside even if not supervised in common areas where it's otherwise safe. Now, you might also run into a rule that comes up that says, hey, no bikes, no skateboards, no scooters, or ball playing. Once again, that type of rule is largely illegal. If the rule is designed basically to prevent children from playing, it's not enforceable. Now, the rare exception to that is landlords can have some rules. They can say, don't play with hard balls or don't throw leather footballs where things might get broken. That's okay. But to prohibit Nerf balls and safe activities and scooters where there's no real risk of danger, that's illegal. Now, you might be thinking, well, what if I complain about this? Won't the landlord retaliate against me? Won't they evict me? Under the fair housing law, that is absolutely illegal. So if you raise your voice, you actually are protecting yourself. So, but what happens, you might be thinking, what if I'm not an American? Can I do something about this? And the answer is absolutely yes. The Fair Housing Act protects all families with children, not just American families. So if you're not an American citizen, you don't even have papers to be here, you still have rights under the Fair Housing Act. But what can you do then? If you're wondering what's going to happen to you, we request a few things. You can go to our website, it's discriminationiswrong.com. That's discriminationiswrong.com. Send us an email and make it about a half page and tell us what your situation is. We'll let you know whether you have the right to do something, what you should do, or if you should just let it go. Now, if you decide you need our services and you hire us, we won't charge you a nickel unless we take your case and recover something. If there's no recovery, you owe us nothing, plain and simple. We'll put that in writing so you have no worry about it. You might also think, what happens if I sue and I lose? Can I be evicted? The answer, once again, absolutely not. The law says you have the right to sue, and even if you lose, you cannot be evicted. So with summer coming up soon, and the landlord's getting ready to send out its regular summer reminders memos to the complex, which typically tell you everything that your kids can't do this summer, you need to do something about it. It's time that your kids get to play outside this summer and not have to worry about being harassed or you being evicted. The law is on your side. There's something you can do about it. So go ahead, go to our website, discriminationiswrong.com, send us an email, and we'll help you out. Thank you very much.